Good afternoon, everybody. John Swift here, and there's Bob. Every time I start talking, the cat comes around. I don't know if you watch older older vlogs. A cat loves to jump in the shot. It's usually the same one too. I have two cats. They're like twins, one boy and one girl. Anyway, the reason may look like I've been left out, cold and wet, is because I got a terrible head cold going on today. As usual, I hadn't planned on doing any kind of vlog. But when I'm sitting around home sometimes, like I took the day off from work, sometimes I get these stories or ideas in my head. And sometimes I get really lazy about writing them down. And so I thought of a good story today that might be somewhat interesting. And for some people it may not be interesting. But I've been watching YouTube all day. A lot of interviews. I've been watching some Chevy Chase interviews, and now I'm watching Bill Murray interviews for some reason. I'm trying to think of what started the whole interview. You can kind of hear my voice is kind of really low, and it feels like there's a balloon inside my left eye, and it's like inflating. That's why I'm like so. Feels like I got like a fever. I took a bunch of medication for stuffy head and all that stuff, but it's not working as directed. Anyway, before I let this story get away, it's sometime around, I'm going to ballpark this around 2003, I decided with the church that I was with to take see, the story's already gone already. What do they call it? A mission trip. A mission trip. If you're not familiar with a mission trip is usually you're going somewhere to try and help people. It was to Nicaragua. And let me remember. I think the town was called Bluefields Number 2, maybe? Now, see, I went twice, so I think the first trip was Bluefields Number 2. The second trip was to some remote farm area. It's coming to me. Samulali? Something like that? You could probably Google it really fast and Samulali, Nicaragua, or something like that. The cool thing about telling stories is I don't have to have props and stuff to tell you. You can just boom, you can Google it. Anyway, Nicaragua, according to what I can remember, is a country that was in two or three civil wars, like around the 80s times. You've ever heard of the Contras and what was it? Another thing you can Google, because with this headache and this cold and stuff, I can't focus. I'm doing the best I can. So we're in Samulali, as I believe I actually took 2 trips to Nicaragua, which is in Central America. I would say it's near Guatemala, I think. You know how Mexico kind of swoops down in a little C curve. It's down the bottom down there. And I also went to Dominican Republic, which is an island near Jamaica and Cuba. So it's easy to get confused because the landscape is very, very similar. When you go into towns that are old, that were built I don't know if they were built in the 1910s or the 1940s or when they were built, they look very similar when you go into these rural towns and the paint's peeling off the wall and all kinds of stuff. Okay, so we go to this Samulali, and it's like a concrete farm building, and it has no glass windows at all. So we're basically in sleeping bags on the floor, empty rooms. There was not much there. I mean, I don't even know if they had electricity there. It was very remote. It was beautiful, for the remoteness of the place. It was very beautiful. It was very rolling hills there. It was as soon as you went down the road, you'd see these green rolling hills and beautiful palm trees, and it was quite a bit inland. It wasn't near the water. Managua is near the western coast of Central America, and you fly in there, and then you get on some kind of crazy bus train thingy and go out to the country, and it's usually guys driving 50 miles an hour through neighborhoods and stuff and dirt roads and all that. So it's pretty nutty. I should dig out photos someday at some point. I'm very lazy about doing my research. But anyway, hopefully the story is going to be worth the wait. So they decide that they want us to help them by planting trees. I think we planted trees and also harvested bean plants. And if you don't know what a bean plant is, it's a little short plant that's a foot or two tall, and you pick them up, you set them in the sun, and you let the beans dry, I guess, and then you pull them off. And we didn't really do any of that harvesting we just took the plants out. It was very dirty and hot, and I think it was during the summertime. But being in Central America, it's not like it is like the 90s. I don't think it was maybe in the mid 80s. Now my throat's hurting because I'm talking. I haven't been talking all day, except to my cat. Now they got swallowed some water. So we go to plant these beside the farm. In between there was a stretch and there was an outhouse that was like, I don't know if it was 50 feet. You had to walk away from the house. Of course, you know anything about outhouses, they stink because it's just a big hole in the ground. So you have to put it. So they had this yard kind of area, and they had these little. I guess it was beans. I don't remember that super clear. So they're like, okay, just go out there and dig a hole, and I think they had like string running in lines, so we could we could plant the trees in a straight line. What kind of trees did I say they were? Not the best time to be telling stories when your head's exploding. Not mango trees, but the other kind of trees. Oh, sorry. I'll remember this next time. Next time I go to tell a story, not to do it when you have like 102 temperature, but and you're delirious. I can picture the name of the tree in my mind, but it won't come out my mouth. It's those tall trees that grow. They grow like 10 feet tall, and they have big greenish fruit, yellow fruit that comes down there. It's not important what type of tree we're planting, but anyway. So we're planting, and I'm digging holes and putting the seeds in, and I start digging, and I don't remember if I had like a little shovel or what I had, but I hit something metal, and I start digging, and I uncover a AK-47 clip, and the clip is the typical one that you see in any movie where there's a bad guy firing an AK-47. It's got the curved clip. Like, just go to Google and type in AK-47 magazine or clip. It's about, I don't know, 10 inches long. It's a big metal thing, and it was all rusty. So I dig it up. I'm like, hey, check this out. And I'm like telling my friends, hey, check this out. And the guy who was running the farm, I can't remember his name right now, comes over, he goes, oh yeah, that's an AK-47. He didn't speak any English. So I had one guy that was with me that was like an interpreter that was with me, Dan. And he was like asking the guy what it was. And he says, well, there was a civil war that was fought near here in this farm land. They're probably buried everywhere. Because I don't know, I guess you'd use a clip and you just throw it away, and if you were in battle, you'd just toss your empty clip and pick up a new one. And I didn't really get the logistics on like why they were throwing their clips away. You know, who knows? Maybe somebody was shot near there or something. I don't know. Then the guy went on later on, I think, to tell us his life story where he did fight in the Civil War when he was like 20 something, and then when his side lost, he like had to go into hiding and everything. It was a very, very interesting story. I wish I really could like recite that story, but the lady that was sort of running the mission trip was kind of bossy and know-it-all type of lady. As soon as she saw that, she said, oh, you're not taking that back to the United States. And I never mentioned a word. I never said I was going to take it back on the plane. And I think this is just what, 9/11 was 2001, so this must have been like a year and a half after that. And I just thought it was pretty cool because I kind of like guns and stuff, and, you know, especially something that was historical like that, a rusted magazine. And I was thinking, if it was empty, surely you could take it back. So I ended up sort of having to say, oh, I'm not going to take it on the plane. And I didn't take it, but I gave it to the guy whose the farm it was. But and just to be clear, the Civil War was many, many years before that. This is 2003. I think that war might have ended in the 80s, and it was very, very long. A lot of people died, and the United States got involved in the Iran-Contra. What was it? Was it drugs for guns or something like that? The CIA was involved, and it's a very long, long story. You can Wikipedia that thing. How the United States was somehow they tried to implicate the United States with Ollie North, like selling drugs to get money to buy weapons to give to the Contras, because we were trying to fund the, and I'm probably wrong whether it's the Contras or the Sandinistas or whatever, but one of the sides we were funding to win the Civil War, so the government would be our friends, whoever won, that we would have some kind of political, you know, it's all tied politically to, we need something from Central America and all that stuff. Just like when they try to put canals through there and stuff. I don't know. It's if you're interested in history, it's an interesting thing about how the United States tried to go in there and dig a canal before they did the Panama Canal. It's like it's a lot of stuff. Anyway, so I didn't take the gun clip home. I told the lady I wasn't gonna take it home, but the guy ended up bringing his 22 rifle out, which is pretty funny. And he was like, "You want to shoot this gun?" He was telling my friend, you could shoot it. I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. This is all church people," and like I just don't see that. I just didn't see it happening. I'm like, "No, no, no." He had it loaded, and he has 22 loaded, and he was like, he cocked the thing back and, "You want to go shoot it over here? Fine." It's a much different demographic in the farms of Central America and guns and things like that. That's what they have, is they have shovels and they have guns and machetes and fruit and beans. Anyway, I just thought that was kind of an interesting little story, and it was kind of fresh in my mind, so I thought I would, while I was delirious and had a cold, I would try to relay that to, I wish I had more facts and names. I can't remember the guy's name. I do remember, though, he had the sharpest machete I've ever seen in my life, because that was his like number one tool for like tree trimming and grass trimming and all-purpose self-defense and everything. That was like the machete. It was like nobody had an axe there. I didn't see one anyway. Everybody had machetes and shovels and maybe like a pickaxe, but that's about it. But that was like the number one tool, is to have a machete, because I mean, if you ever use a machete, it does make quick work of like tree trimming. But he told us some really good stories about people shooting and his family getting in a fight with the neighbors about something, and fascinating. I'd like to promise that I could pull the pictures out and like show you all the photos, but at some time when I'm not so lazy, I will do that. I hope the story was somewhat interesting. That's an oldie but a goodie. That's going back, whew, how many years is that? 13 years ago? There's a couple other stories that, just real quick. My friend, we were walking out to this field. Like the fields were like all, like in a cartoon where it goes up and it goes down and up and down. And they would plant on the sides of hills. And my friend, for some reason when he was walking back, he got a really bad cramp in his leg and started like screaming at the top of his lungs. He's like, I got a cramp, help me. And then it started raining on the way back. So it was like a full downpour. My friend had this really severe, if you ever had a severe leg cramp, it's very painful, and he had to walk back like 15-20 minutes back to the farm. That was a good memory. I think I have a journal where I have a picture of him crying out with his hand reaching toward the sky, screaming, holding his leg, because that was a good memory. Anyway, sorry I'm sick and I don't look too good, but I just had some time today, so it's good to see everybody. I hope you guys are staying tuned for more vlogs. I'll be doing on the weekends. I'm trying to get caught up on those weekend vlogs, and I know I've been saying this, but work has just got me scrambled. So anyway, hope it was a good story. We'll see you later. Thanks for watching.